So we are on a day 3, accept abundance.
Take it away, Anthony.
Okay, it's good first sentence.
Yeah,
Accept abundance. Accept your anger, for it is the next step in the continuum upon which we travel.
I love it. My God, isn't that
That's
beautiful?
Ah,
that's crazy. I got really angry
at
yesterday.
that.
And I was judging myself for it, and now you're saying, just accept it. All right, thanks.
I know. And it's like it's so incredible. Like, I've been hammering this home all the times. It's like, guy, the secret is in the acceptance of all feelings until they become just one thing, a feeling. You're no longer going like, I'm angry, or I'm depressed, or I'm this, I'm that. You just have this labyrinth of energy, like this divine movement that occurs from no longer pressing onto the feelings.
mm,
And anger is such profoundly judged, emotion in this particular part of universe. you know don't be angry. So we all put a lid on it, and particularly in the spiritual circles, like, oh, are you still angry, are you? It's like, yeah, I am so angry. And next
I
minute,
get angry at I get angry at being angry.
yeah,
yeah.
exactly. And so really accepting it 100%, it takes the lid off this pressure to be something else. And then even anger begins to change into something else. It's actually, we think it's an anger, but it's not. So this is a big one to actually even to pause on and have a discussion if anybody wants to. Because
Well,
Well,
like yesterday, I found myself in, judgment of how I was feeling, and I got into blame, and I felt very hurt by my mum, like by how it was for me the last couple of years in particular. Like there's some hurtful stuff went on, and then and I suddenly was not letting go of suffering, and I said, you know, I really judged myself for that one, and I realized, well, a lot of this is probably just that I'm not accepting how I'm feeling, just accepting. Accept yourself. I was not accepting myself yesterday. I was not.
they said that this is the trick, guys. Every time you have something arising, you will have something else arising with it. And you actually, if you allow both to be there, like you'll have anger arising, and then you will have this quality that says, yeah, oh God, I shouldn't be angry. Allow that too. Allow, I shouldn't be angry. Just fully allow it, accept it.
Mm.
But that one is usually more hidden. But when you get both of them, your energy will begin to flow.
mm. I still remember the quotes in the Course in Miracles about Jesus saying it's under no circumstances is anger justified or something. And that really plays with my mind. Like it, ugh.
Mm.
Well, I mean, it's a true statement, though. Anger is never justified. It is a true statement. However,
Yeah.
we do still get angry, and
At the same time, and he says that, and at the same time, he says my favorite sentence is like, every twinge of annoyance
I
is,
know.
is nothing but a veil drawn across an intense fury.
Mm.
And I often say, it's like, have you found that fury he is talking about? He's actually suggesting, like, notice what happens. Like, you never upset for the reason you think. You're definitely upset for the reason what you actually feel, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And next time you get triggered, like just mildly, if you stay with it, it's just the top tip of the iceberg. And
the thing for me, Cole, is when I'm upset, like say I'm really sad, I automatically go to I'm suffering.
Mm-hmm.
Sad suffering. So feeling is suffering. And I'm
Yes.
supposed to let go of suffering. So how do I, so that's the sort of bind I find myself
Yes.
in that moment of feeling, feeling angry, feeling hurt, feeling
Yes.
sad, whatever it is. The bind I find myself in is like I'm letting go of suffering, but here I am suffering again.
Yes. What about you change that word, I'm suffering, into go like, whoa, the transformation is arriving. See?
And maybe just I'm feeling.
Yeah, feeling.
Yes. Yes.
God,
And,
I'm
and
feeling.
next minute, you have a Kundalini rising. Seriously, that's all it is this compressed energy. People often talk about Kundalini as this kind of the little energy that comes up your spine. It's not. It's a massive surge of who you truly are. We are powerful beings.
Mm.
You know, we just sit on this with this massive heavy lid on top of that power, pretend to be, going through hell. Okay. Well, shall we read on, see what he says about this?
We've done one sentence.
Huh?
Someone. When a person is dying, just as when a person is undergoing this final surrender, there are stages through which one moves. The first is denial, the second is anger.
Mm-hmm.
We have already spoken of denial, albeit in a new way. Now we will speak of anger in both an old and a new way. Let me suggest to you what it is truly all about. It is about the way you have learned and your lack of understanding of which this did to you.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Of what this did to you.
Yeah.
What did I say?
Which?
Of what this did to you. Thank you. What was it that was taught to in the time of learning? It was the mind.
Mm-hmm.
Thus, your mind has been trained for learning, and you are most willing to have new insight, new information, and new discoveries enter through your mind, because this is known to you and is what you are familiar with. In the area of the mind, you are most willing to accept teachers, leaders, guides, authorities, for only through them did you learn. You are beginning to see now that this learning was not a choice, but only the way you knew life to be. Hmm. While the freedom of childhood, learning might be seen as a way, learning what? Oh, hang
As
on.
the way.
While the freedom of childhood, learning might be seen as the way learning was meant to be. The time of this pure learning has grown shorter and shorter, while the time of enforced learning has grown more entrenched. Somebody else?
Yeah, Alison, you're next.
Mm.
Feel
In
free
the
to read
area
extra
of
if
the
you want to. There's
body.
not that many of us. So.
What's that?
I said, feel free to read extra if you want to. There's not that many of us. We just.
In the area of the body came another form of learning about which you saw yourself as having little choice. When the body had something to teach you, what choice did you have but to listen? So the mind and body were both conditioned to have learning thrust upon them. You long ago quit resisting most of this learning and accepted it as the way things are. This kind of acceptance is what we are reversing with a new acceptance. With your heart, you grew less accepting of these outside attempts at influence. You, who as both individuals and as a species have been conditioned by thousands of years of learning through the mind, learning in often painful ways, said no to learning through the heart. Many of you will admit to growing a bit angry with the beginning of this course and its challenge to your ideas regarding love. Most of you approached learning through the heart with even more openness than you did new ideas about love, not realizing that they were one and the same. So our first point of discussion in the realm of anger is that no matter where anger seems to arise, anger is a product of the condition of learning.
Wow.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I'm listening.
Nice, huh?
Amazing.
It always was, but now this is being revealed to you, not just through my words, but by your experiencing of anger in new ways. You may not have felt a great deal of this anger yet, but it is there, and here we will discuss its function.
I like how you said yet there.
There is one area that is greeted with even more anger and more resistance in regard to learning of all kinds. What's that? There's one area that's greeted with even more anger and more resistance in regard to learning of all kinds. In other words, both old learning as well as new. Then love. This is the area that you call money and that I call abundance. Feel your body's reaction to this statement. Some of you will feel excitement at the idea of this issue being finally discussed, but be aware of your feelings as we proceed, for I tell you truly, here is where your greatest anger and your greatest lack of belief and acceptance lies.
I'm next. I might go back and read that again if you don't mind. I like that paragraph.
Do.
Paragraph 3.4. With your heart, you grew less accepting of these outside attempts at influence. You, who as both individuals and as a species, have been conditioned by thousands of years of learning through the mind, learning in often painful ways. Learning in often painful ways said no to learning through the heart. Many of you will admit to growing a bit angry with the beginning of this course and its challenge to your ideas regarding love. Most of you approach learning through the heart with even more openness than you did new ideas about love, not realizing that they were one and the same. So our first point of discussion in the realm of anger is that no matter where anger seems to arise, anger is a product of the condition of learning. So our first point of discussion in the realm of anger is that no matter where anger seems to arise, anger is a product of the condition of learning. It always was, but now this is being revealed to you, not just through my words, but by your experiencing of anger in new ways. You may not have felt a great deal of anger. You may not have felt a great deal of this anger yet, but it is there. And here we will discuss its function. There is one area that is greeted with even more anger and more resistance in regard to learning of all kinds. In other words, both old learning as well as new and love. This is the area that you call money and that I call abundance. Feel your body's reaction to this statement. Some of you will feel excitement at the idea of this issue being finally discussed. But be aware of your feelings as we proceed. For I tell you truly, here is where your greatest anger and your greatest lack of belief and acceptance lies. Cole, you're next.
Just make this a bit bigger. You may believe a spiritual context for your life can change your life, make you feel more peaceful, give you comfort of a non-physical nature. These ideas, whether you realize it or not, are all associated with mind. It is through your mind that these new ideas will challenge your actions.
Change.
Thank you. Change your actions and your life. Your mind that, actions and your life, your mind that through increased stillness will give you more peace. Your mind, it's a weird sentence for me, will give you more peace. Your mind that will accept comfort of a certain type, even extending to a new comfortableness of being. You believe having a spiritual context for your life can, in other words, change your inner life, but are more skeptical in regarding to its ability to affect your outer life. And nowhere are you more skeptical than in regard of money and abundance. Yeah, it seems to be very quiet in here, right?
Yeah, I'm so triggered.
Yeah. It's like, the idea of money or abundance is
the area of money.
Huh?
The area of money.
Yes, the area of money or abundance is where learning fooled you and failed you the most.
Yeah.
Anyone?
Well, you know, I see how, like, we have ideas that we're taught in the world that you do this to make money. You do these things. It's like causes in the world. It's very strong. That cause and effect are in the world. They're not anywhere else. Anyway, Anthony.
I just feel like I feel like I live an abundant life, and I'm doing joy and what I love, but of getting this idea as I'm getting older of, fuck, I should have fucking saved, I should have done this, I should have done that, and
Mhm.
accumulated and all that. And I don't believe in that shit. But then that's just another.
Hmm.
Then the people my age are getting so comfortable and are going on holidays, and I'm working, but I'm in like two minds. Ah,
Yeah, like this shit that you've got to have X amount of money to be able to retire bullshit,
no.
you know?
What
It's
happened to trust of
unbelievable.
God and life and
Yeah,
trust? I fucking
yeah.
hate it. And there's a part of me that wants it or believes in it because otherwise I wouldn't be stressed by it. I've never felt like this before, but as I get a little bit older and I'm still working, I'm starting to feel resentful of the people around me that have.
Mm.
It's really weird.
Well, when I was young, I just sort of decided, I'll just trust in being looked after and put myself in but like it wasn't a real trust. It was actually a kind of arrogance. I see now that I'll be all right. I'll be all right. I'll be all right. Because I have
Mm,
people around me who would look after me and all that kind of stuff. And, now I'm confronted with this situation where I'm 62 years old and my energy level's not
mm,
so much as it was. And I haven't got very little in savings and I'm living in a flat I can't afford to pay the rent for.
mm,
And my girls have encouraged me to take this flat because it's much more comfortable. And they have said to me they'll cover what needs to be covered. And I feel so blessed. This is temporary, but I feel so blessed and looked after by them. It was very unexpected. But I'm still facing, like what I'm attempting to do is trust, like really trust. And I find I'm given things and things turn up and the
mm.
stuff I need and I've given a lot of support and all that kind of stuff, but it's like there's always this idea in my mind. But what about when the girls stop helping because it's not going to be forever, you know? So
Yeah, there's so much fear instilled around it, isn't there? So
mm,
much.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm angry about that. We're made to believe that we've got to worry all the time about the future,
Yeah.
especially as regards, where the money's coming from. It's like, oh, it's just crippling.
it is
It
Oh,
crippling,
can,
but
it can be crippling.
actually, actual faith or trust, the actual, just allowing of what is to be there does give provision. It
Mm,
does, but we're
yeah.
so trained out of that thinking.
Mm,
Let's see. We can look. See, this is like the mind kicks in and
mm.
go. Well, what about this? What about that? But can you feel the anger there?
Yes.
yeah. I'm
Now we're
feeling
talking.
Yeah.
Now we're
resentful of
talking.
others.
Now we're talking.
I'm fucking.
Allow,
I'm,
accept anger. Right. That's where we're going.
Okay. Ah,
Otherwise,
fuck you.
we can just justify and say this is like that and this is like this.
Mm,
That's what we do.
Yeah.
Tell ourselves, well, we trust. Well, it's gonna be somehow, but it's all mind, isn't it?
mm.
Yeah.
Yeah? And I'm not taking that away. I'm just saying, let's feel what's the anger, because that is where he's saying is real abundance,
Right.
right? We don't know how that is
I don't know how that is.
because,
You mean that
well,
you're
because when
saying that?
the kingdom comes, then there is a different level of abundance, and no matter how much money you have, you still go through struggles and tribulations. I know
Yeah,
people who suddenly got money and they're going like, shit, what do I do now? You know, it's not
yeah.
necessarily you get money and next minute you are happy. You actually not necessarily
Right.
are happy. Next minute you have to manage it.
Mm,
Yes.
And if you're not into money, like, if it's not your thing, then that becomes the next level of struggle again.
Yes, it doesn't matter how much or how little there is, there
Yeah.
still is
But
all this mind stuff. Yeah.
imagine this, no matter what, you feel content, genuinely
Yeah.
content within yourself.
mm,
That's real abundance.
Mm.
That you feel happy and rich within. You feel like, oh, God, but
And
I've
not
got this. I've got this here, you know, I've got this.
Oh, we're not taught that.
No,
Yeah, we not thought that's a good one.
they don't want us to know that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Does
yeah.
does money mean we have control? Is it like that means we're in control? Or we think we're in control?
Yeah, we think it's all the mind. Just notice that all this is mind. Yeah, mind rushes in to establish its impotence, right?
But it's like on our dollar bill, it says, "In God we trust." Yeah.
Yeah,
No, in the
right.
dollar bill we trust.
And I have many of these, right?
Well, it's like the story in the Bible and somewhere in here about, you know, the lilies of the field. Like as soon as we allow like really fall back into like the universe will provide everything I need. And I don't know, I have a lot of proof of that. The last few years were more difficult, and I'm in a senior community now, and you know there's fear that the produce, you know, delivery won't even come, you know, like that's but I don't know, it's all over and it's pervasive and it's, you know, I've always had enough, you know, I've always had what I needed, period. Maybe not what I wanted, but not what I needed. So anyway, I don't know, it's just I feel very, once again, like I did before COVID, I feel an abundant life, a whole bunch of different things, you know. And I don't have a lot. I don't have money saved up. So
this is where it goes. Let's go under that. Yeah, let's go under every
yeah,
story we make about this, and just
right.
allow the anger. Because all these like, oh, what if they somewhere make us angry, but that is covered up, isn't it?
So I'm
Right.
You never
angry.
think about it.
I'm angry that people have got more than me. Just doesn't feel
Yeah.
fair.
Yeah, that comes a
Yeah.
bit later.
Eh?
That's gonna be mentioned there too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Envy.
And I'm really upset at myself that I'm angry at myself that I feel that.
Yes. Beautiful. All right, who wants to read next?
Hymns next. Before you go on, it's interesting with this stuff because I find that you know, the universe will provide, but you know, the universe might say, well, you don't need to eat for a few days, so no food. You can eat on Wednesday, you know.
You know, I went to went to Tasmania with Hector and a group of other people, and I ran out of money while I was there. And on the last day, I was praying, like, "Can I have some money? I'd like to have lunch," you know. And and the funny thing that happened was that I didn't get any money, but I didn't get hungry either.
Right. Yes.
Right.
Ah,
So your thoughts can come in really easily just to say that, you know, I have to eat today. And so, you know, if you're not getting food, your thoughts go. It's interesting, today's lesson, number 4, was started this morning, was these thoughts about do not mean anything. And that's all. And it's good
Yeah.
thoughts and bad thoughts. That's the part I really love, the good thoughts and the bad thoughts. Neither of them mean anything.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Thank you.
Nice.
You may believe that having a spiritual context for your life will assist you in feeling more loved and possibly even assist you in finding someone to love. You may believe that this spirituality can help mend a feeling of brokenheartedness, can cause you to extend forgiveness to those who hurt you, to make amends to those you hurt, or to simply quit feeling guilty or bitter, shamed or rejected because of them. But you do not believe this spiritual context is capable of bringing you the lack of want you associate most strongly with money. It's interesting.
Lack of want.
It's a double one, isn't it? Double, a want of want.
Just posing the idea that having spiritual context for your life will assist you in living abundantly will cause you to think, I doubt it. Or I'll believe it when I see it. You might think spirituality can assist you in living a more simple life, and thus a life of limits of which you are more accepting. But given time to consider such an idea, you are likely to become more and more agitated, to go back and forth between the general and specific, thinking of both your own lack in life and that of those whose lack is more pronounced than your own. Fairness seems non-existent in terms of who has and who has not. And the world seems made up of haves and have-nots, and to function in the insane way that it does, largely due to this discrepancy.
So are we angry at God because of this?
Yeah, I am.
I would have done a better job if I were in charge.
Well, much better.
I'll read one more. In such a case, would it make sense that we not address this issue, this blatant cause of so much insanity, this cause of such anger? Let us return for a minute to the base idea behind the issue of money or abundance, the way you have learned. The mind would tell you that nothing is given and that all must be either learned or earned, most times both. For you have learned in order to earn, learned in order to advance yourself in the world in one way or another. Since money or abundance is not a given for all, but only for a few, you think of it much like the given of natural gifts or talents, the givens of fresh and inspired ideas. You do not, however, see that these are in truth linked as givens, for you do not see that all are gifted.
Annie, next.
It is only because some are gifted more abundantly than others that they can use the givens of talent and inspired ideas to bring them wealth. This is the idea of bartering, which we have spoken of before, or bargaining, which we will speak more of here. It is the base idea that is behind all ideas of lack, an idea you so thoroughly learned during the time of learning that letting it go, even now, still torments you with worry and anger. It is the idea of an if this, then that world, an idea of a world in which the beliefs set forth within this course are neither seen nor lived by. This is the basic fallacy that the time of learning supported. The idea of if this, then that, the idea of abundance earned. There we go. The idea of abundance earned. The idea of nothing being truly free. Not you and not your gifts. Everything coming with a price. Abundance comes even to those gifted only through the exploitation of gifts. Abundance remains even to those born with it only through the exploitation of others, only through some having less to do, some have more. To think in such terms, then, to see such thoughts as even capable of having spiritual value, is something you think of as insane. There seems no remedy, and so you would rather not even attempt an understanding of how things might be different. As far as you have come, these ideas are still with most of you to one degree or another. Even though you know these are false ideas, and in that knowing may even say to yourself as you read them that you no longer think in such a way. They are there in the learned pattern, and you know this too. They are what prevents you from believing that the ideas set forth in this course, when practiced, are capable of making a difference, especially in terms of monetary abundance. This is one of those situations in which you know and have no idea what to do with what you know. Wow. Being unable to replace in application the false with the true, the pattern of the false remains. Yet how can you accept yourself when you have feelings such as these? How can you accept the idea of inheritance with ideas such as these? How do you accept me when you see me as symbolizing a life of godly poverty and of calling my followers to abandon their worldly goods? Thus, must this source of your anger and discontent, this source of your non-acceptance, be revealed in a new light. Woohoo! Let's go back to the idea of money when it is seen as a given. It is seen as a given in one case only. In the case of inheritance, in the case of those born to money. Thus, this is a good place to start, since inheritance is that of which we speak. Ooh. Let's be clear that we're not speaking of money or abundance as being given when it is hard work to attain. Not even when it seems to come from some event of luck or fate. We are talking specifically here of the money given through inheritance, the money some lucky ones are born with. The degree, did I just skip one?
Yeah, you skipped one.
Yeah, I did. These are those who are resented most within your world. And yet envied. This resentment and envy fills you with anger. If you feel any anger now, pay attention to its effect on you. You can feel perhaps the strain and tension in your stomach, back, and neck. The degree of this, it just seems like it keeps going there. The degree of your discomfort with this issue is something you only imagine to be greater than that of your brothers and sisters. A few of you will not feel this. And if you are among those few, do not skip past this dialogue, but join in so that you understand, as do those for whom this dialogue is meant, the power of this aspect of your brothers and sisters' lives and the power and function of anger. I'll stop there just because I could go on and on, but
You just couldn't stop
Take a moment.
the
Yeah.
abundance of reading.
what's that?
I'm just kidding.
Mm.
Hmm.
Oh,
It's a big one, hey?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's also a big one because I don't know, just an observation, which includes myself, like, you know, sort of working through spiritual, I don't, I don't know what the right word is, but like levels or beliefs or something like that. A lot of people think that that sort of once you become spiritually balanced or I don't know, enlightened or something, that you also like then money comes. Like you can't have illness and or lack and or stuff like that and still be of spirit. And I think this is kind of cutting through some of that too.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that if you're the king on the chessboard or the pawn, you're still on the chessboard. That's it.
Mm.
Well, but if we were all the same, if we all had the same amount of money and love, everything was kind of the same in this earthly plane, would we have lessons to learn or go beyond?
Can we carry on with the money thing?
What's that?
I think we're getting a bit sidetracked.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I would still go
I'm
back
feeling irritated.
Yes, I would be going more there. I'd be going more there. That's good. That's what we want to get into.
Yeah, I'm irritated.
Yeah, that's it. Good. And that's the whole thing, just to really get in touch with that. What's underneath all that he's talking about?
Mm-hmm.
well, this money thing in the world, it just sets up a total inequality. So it's hard to feel equal or as good as others or whatever, because money seems to run the show, seems to dictate everything here.
Well, I got out of the rat
Seems
race.
to, yeah.
I got out of the rat race really young because I don't want any part of this, because I could work really, really hard and just be stuck in this trap of having to work hard and work hard and work hard just to,
But wouldn't the opposite also be a trap?
well,
Like, what's the difference, really?
You just joined another rat race.
Yeah.
Another bunch of rats.
but it does upset me when I look at how hard my daughters have to work just to maintain, like a fairly basic standard of living.
Yeah, just to pay the rent.
Yes. Yeah. And I do feel upset by that.
We learned all sorts of things. We learned that we have to eat 3 or 4 times a day. And that's going to cost you. But we learned that.
Yeah. And our coffees and coffees and stuff.
And this and that. and the little payments, like you just get internet, but then you get to get your Netflix, and you have to pay for your, next and your next and your subscription here and a subscription there. It's just that one idea of internet, and now the cost of living, suddenly you're paying $100 more just to pay for your little devices and your little things. And, I really saw it when I did that breatharian life, that how little one needed, like even if you just ate when you were hungry, not when you're told that you have to eat 3 times a day, which really causes a lot of sickness. Sickness makes you feel uncomfortable, and now your abundance is gone because you don't feel good. But the cause is not lack of money. The cause is that we set ourselves, we bought into system in which living is expensive.
And not only that, but it's a distraction from what's real as well. It's a full-on distraction. Will keep you hooked into this non-existent.
Yeah, and even just that, because we really don't need so much. There's an interesting thing that in Urantia, they talk about these things that we transform into the next life in some way, but not like reincarnation kind of thing. It's very different. The way, it's just a concept for now, yeah? They basically say, in that realm, we will not eliminate anything. There will be no elimination of extra water. There's no elimination of food. You simply take, and it all gets consumed completely. Bing, right?
No shit there.
No shit there. Right. Now, when I did that breatharian thing, it was very interesting because I saw how much of my life was spent on just this eating and putting a roof on top of me. When I was eating, I needed a fridge, I needed a car to get the groceries. Like we start doing this thing, and then you have to go and earn the money to pay for it. Yeah, so then you have to go and get education, which can be also expensive. And it's just to fulfill that learning, that thing we learned, that we need to eat a lot. Right? So then you earn that money, you spend 8 hours at work, you earn that money, you rush into the shop to buy food, you have to prepare it, you have to cook it, you have to eat it, you have to assimilate it, you have to eliminate it just to go into the next round of eating again. And it was so amazing to see how little is needed when one doesn't buy into this learning that we need to eat this much. And that's just eating.
Well, Jesus does say somewhere in there, take no thought for what you shall eat, for what you shall drink, for what you shall wear. So no thought. That's what he says. Yeah.
How do you not do that, though? It's like telling someone not to think about a tiger.
But it's like we're totally consumed with those thoughts.
Yes, exactly.
Totally. Like there's no room left for non-thought, Yeah.
Yes. And then this is the thinking addiction.
Well, that's right.
So much energy. I mean, how many of you guys think constantly? Yeah. And that's because we put a lid on the anger. Putting a lid on anger we lose our ground. We lose our base. And now we are left with this thinking. Because when feeling returns, you can't think. Yeah? You actually can't think. There is a balance between thinking and feeling when you're united in your heart. But even just going into your heart, if you don't power this, we are powering this, right? But if you just, let's say, instead of powering this and thinking, because you have to power it to think, yeah, you put a focus in this area. If we take that away, and I've showed you this a few times, but even just going out of here for a moment, and let's power this instead. Feel the difference?
Mm.
Where are the thoughts now? You would
There's
have to
difference
go back,
suffering and
you have to go
just
back
feeling.
now. So it's another addiction, same as eating. It's a thinking addiction, and then we think this whole world up in which we are struggling.
Yeah,
Right?
but that's part of it too, isn't it? Like this, what it's trying to say, like the fallacy that abundance is earned. Like, and I thought that's what it was talking about, like with the inheritance. Like, you know, we have the inheritance of a God within, love.
Yeah.
And we don't have to do anything to earn it. And I sort of thought it was trying to make a parallel with money. Like it's not that you don't like you could just sort of sit in a chair and it'll come, but maybe it will. You know what I mean? Like maybe it will. Like it's not something should be a struggle and a worry about the future and lack. That's kind of how I got it. It's like it's your inheritance to be abundant.
Okay, where is that?
Well, 313. This is the basic fallacy that the time of learning supported. The idea of if this, then that, like meaning like if you work hard and or you work, then you get that.
Yes.
The idea of abundance earned. The idea of nothing being truly free. Not you, not your gifts. Like I thought it was kind of doing a parallel, everything coming with a price. Like a price of struggling and earning, and abundance comes even to those gifted only through the exploitation of gifts. Like, I don't know. I just thought it was somehow a letting go of those ideas and those fears that's where our inheritance is. I don't know. And that sort of includes the basics of food and money and stuff like that. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Is that the prodigal son?
Yeah,
but before any of that can happen, I think you have to see that you've got all this anger around it. Otherwise,
that what?
I think you've got to come to really see how angry we are around all these false teachings around abundance to actually have it work, because that keeps us anchored in non-abundance in some way, I believe. We don't even know. We don't even know we've got this seething anger around money.
Let's come back to the text. Yes.
Yeah.
Let's come back. Yeah. Let's come back and see where this is heading.
Anthony, you still reading?
Yeah.
Okay, then read.
Yes. What one are we up to?
20. 3.20.
Okay. The power of money to affect you is the power that is denied.
Is a power.
Is a power. Sorry, I can't read. Not a very good reader today. The power of money to affect you is a power that is denied.
Yes.
Acknowledged, seldom spoke of. Think you not that the shame that comes from heartaches or mistaken actions is any greater than the shame those feel who feel no abundance, who suffer a lack of money? There is still a commonly held belief that abundance is a favor of God, and as such, those who do not experience abundance have done something wrong.
That was my point. That was sort of my point earlier.
We will return to this, but first let's continue with the denial of money's effect. The shame and pain of heartaches and mistakes are more often and more easily spoken of than the shame of monetary failure. Yeah. Certainly, much complaining and general fretting are done, but only to the degree in which you feel you are in the same circumstances as those to whom you complain. To speak of money matters with someone who might have more than you would consider a shaming act. Fuck you. Yep. Do.
Mm.
You would fear that they might think you want something from them and you would suffer embarrassment. To speak of money with anyone who has less might open the door for the request for what you do not feel you have to give. To reach a position in which you feel you need to ask for money from others, even from the bank, is seen as a dire situation. This asking will likely be an ordeal of some consequence. Even those who are seen by others as constant takers, unafraid to ask for a handout or a free lunch, experience these same emotions, the build-up of anger, resentment, and shame. In the realm of money lie your biggest failures, your greatest fears, the risks you have taken or not taken, your hopes for success. What you wish for is contingent upon having the means to pursue it. And few of you truly think that money would not solve most of your problems.
Mm.
Even those of you on the spiritual path think money is among the greatest limits to what you can accomplish, to how you can live the life you would choose to live. You may have left behind aspirations of wealth and replaced them with the ideas of having more time, more fulfilling work, simpler pleasures, and yet you still see your new state as one that does not touch upon the aspect of reality, this aspect of reality. The better life you might attain with will be a byproduct rather than the effect of cause. Let someone else read.
Alison, back to you.
Here, excuse me. Here is the real of the old reality, most solid and unrelenting. Not, not having the reality of your life because it was the reality of the learning life. Even if you are one of those others consider lucky, one of those who always just enough, little do others know that your fear is as great as theirs. That while you admit you have enough, you are sure it will not be enough for what the future holds.
Mm.
And if you ever need evidence for this position, it is quick to come. As soon as you get just a little bit ahead, a need arises. The roof leaks, the car breaks down, and an endless series of needs arise.
Mm.
Evidence is exactly what you have sought.
Ah.
This is this operate. They operate in the pattern of the ego, a pattern that was learned, a pattern that was emphasized and re-emphasized through external events, so that it would not be forgotten, so that it would reinforce wants until this attitude of wanting seemed impossible to unlearn. It is a pattern of survival, but not of your survival.
Mm.
Yeah.
It is the pattern of the ego's survival. And even though the ego is no longer with you, the pattern remains, because what you learned and the way in which you learned it remains. Remember, you have learned that nothing is given. For what use would you have of learning if such were not the case? In our dialogue, we have begun to use examples of what you did not learn. In order to demonstrate that what you learned is not true. What you learned is insane. But to realize the truth, you must now fully reject the untruths that you learned. You must fully reject the ideas that taught you that you do not have enough, that you will only have what you can earn or learn, that only through effort will you gain, and that with your gain will come another's loss.
Wow.
In other words, here is where you must accept the teachings of this course. Do not feel dejected that you have not learned these things. They were learned to the degree that you could learn them within the teachings of A Course of Love. But beyond learning, we now stand. We now stand at the place of the rejection of learning, the rejection of all you learned.
Wow.
Thanks.
That's pretty big.
Mm.
Should we read that 325 again?
What's that, Cole?
Should we reread that? Because that's pretty good, eh?
Which one?
Well, should we do it 325 again?
Well, you know how you said when he asks a question that we should take the time to answer it. Well, I noticed in 25, he's remember you have learned that nothing is given. For what use would you have of learning if such were not the case? That's a question.
What's your
And I
answer?
wouldn't mind stopping and just,
I'd say yes.
finding that answer. I sort of thought, well, what does he mean by that?
Yeah.
And we
Well, that's what
learn
we learn
because
that
we have some idea of the future of something, a need that we may have for that learning. What was that, Kim?
well, because that's what we have learned, that nothing is given and that we have to earn it. But so what use would you have of learning if such were not the case? So if everything is given, then what would we have to learn to get? We wouldn't have to learn anything because it's already given.
Yeah.
But that's not what we're taught. It is a huge one to let go of, isn't it? Like, it's tremendous.
Yeah.
Well, it's particularly that section where it says you must fully reject the ideas that taught you that you do not have enough.
Yeah.
That you will only have what you can earn and learn, that only through effort will you gain. This is all the programming, isn't it? And that with your gain will come another's loss. We're going to let that go. In other words, here is where you must accept the teachings of this course.
Yeah, that's a big one too, isn't it? The belief that because all those rich people, they have it because they've taken it from us, sort of thing. That's a huge thing they put out there in the world, isn't it?
Yeah, he also puts out somewhere.
Yeah.
Yes. He also puts in a course somewhere that your thinking as you know it will need to cease.
Yeah.
And that's the whole transition of like, okay, from now on, let's think with the heart.
Mm.
That
I can see what you mean by, what you said earlier, Cole, about thinking as an addiction.
Yeah.
It's this whole thing of, they've just got a hold
yes.
of when and it is a matter of come back to heart and feeling.
It is.
And I've just realized when you were talking about that before too, that my suffering that I had about these feelings of sadness and stuff was not to do with the sadness. It was to do with the thoughts I had, the thinking of the
yes.
world.
Let's use the course for a moment. This is often used as like a tiny made idea crept in, right? Well, that's now, isn't it? What's your tiny made idea creeping in?
That there's not enough?
Yeah, that's a tiny made idea. That's not like it happened one day and now we're suffering the consequences of that tiny made idea. No, a tiny made idea creeps in on and on and on until what? Until you go, fuck that.
There's got to be another way.
There's another way. So you watch your tiny made ideas creep in. That's why, for example, like Byron Katie came up with this beautiful process where he says, like, well, is that true? Question these tiny made ideas. You do, you get yourself back into the wholeness again because it teaches you, like, who would you be without that thought? And you go like, oh God, I'd be so relieved. And now you're in back in abundance because you go like, oh God, I'll be so free. How free? Oh God, next minute you're flying again. Because these tiny made ideas, those are the grievances. Tiny made grievances that we don't even consider to be grievances. We take them as like, well, that's the way of thinking. Oh, that's the way of life. But that's a taught thing, someone taught us think already as a little one, it's just like, look at this is this, and this is that. Don't worry about what you're feeling. Look over here, don't cry. We'll give you some food. So that whole learning started really early, and we're just this result of that, suffering like hell. You must fully reject the ideas that taught you that you do not have enough. So what would be the opposite of it? I have enough.
Abundance is my inheritance.
I think I have more than I need. Try that one just for a second.
I think I do have more than I need.
Yeah. I have more than I need. Right? But you don't think about that, right? You go into scarcity mentality rather than going like, in fact, what if I have more? Like sometimes I look around and go like, oh my God, I got so much junk here. Just sit here like, and then comes a tiny made idea that I need another one. Actually, that was my first time when I heard the voice. Going to buy myself another set of speakers because the ones I had wasn't enough. And I was going to the store, and this voice for the first time went, you don't need to go. And it was like seriously earth-shattering. Like, what? It was so profound that for 3 days, I was just sitting there going like, what the hell was that? And this was early 90s. Oh my God. For 3 days, I was flying like, seriously went into a state of complete different way of being.
Yeah. I had my carpets cleaned the other day and had to get everything out, off the floor. And it felt so good having nothing there, actually, just, And then, oh my God, I've got to put everything back. And it's like, oh no.
Right.
But I can't, but equally, I can't just throw it away. So,
I come across these boxes of stuff that I haven't quite unpacked yet, from like 2 years ago or whatever.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I open them up and I go, oh, I forgot I had that. What would happen? And every time it happens to me, I think, what would happen if I just actually had got rid of it? And might one day wonder, oh, I wonder what happened to such and such. But like, I doubt I'd even remember,
Mm,
Why have I got these
mm.
boxes of shit lying around?
Yeah.
Yeah, me
Now I
too.
have to find a place for everything that I've opened up the box and now I have to find somewhere to put it.
And yeah, so people have to get bigger and bigger houses and borrow more and more money and just to store their shit. That's,
It all comes from the tiny made ideas, right?
yeah. Oh.
Beautiful. Well, I don't think this is a really long one, so maybe we'll split this one in two. Because it goes on and on and on and
Oh
on.
my Lord. Might have to split it in three by the way we're going. It's so
Yeah. But hey,
Whoa.
we're not in a hurry.
Mm.
yeah.
It's a big issue, isn't it? It's huge.
The tiny made idea of completion, it's not something we are worshipping here.
No, but I do have this idea of let's have this 40 days on the mountain. Let's keep it moving.
Yes. Tiny made idea.
It might be 41 days now.
Well,
41 weeks.
the way we're
41
going,
weeks.
it's going to be a year just getting through the 40 days.
That's right. So what about we start next week in 327?
Yeah, maybe a couple
Let me
of,
set your
yeah,
mind at ease.
maybe even 325 again, just to see how did you go with fully rejecting the idea that told you don't have enough.
All right, 325.
Crazy.
Easy, huh?
Crazy. Crazy.
What is it, hot in Melbourne or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, 35. We've got abundant heat.
Mm.
35.
Well, I'm going to be in Melbourne, I think.
Yeah.
Tomorrow,
Macro.
roundabout.
Ah,
Ah.
beautiful, guys. Well, Happy New Year to you all.
Happy New Year. The year of abundance.
It's interesting too. This week's been quite different from this day. It's been quite different from the first 2 days. The first 2 days were like I felt like it went so deep and so peaceful, and this is like chaos.
I know.
Like we've gone fully into the thinking mind today, haven't we?
Yeah, so many thoughts, so many judgments and
Uh,
beliefs running. Like crazy lot.
Let's just keep going back to that. Like, and how does that make you feel? Yeah, because we're overpowering this thinking and we elaborate on thoughts, but how much elaboration was there or an expression of feeling going on? That's always less. And that is actually where it's all stored. It's all stored in a feeling realm. Actually, what we're seeing outside of what appears to be outside of ourselves is what is in subconscious. Subconscious is very easy to access. Yeah.
I've really noticed how I make in my mind before I've done anything, something will happen, and in my mind, I make it like it's going to be so hard, you know. And I haven't even looked at what's required, and like my cupboard door broke, and it's got those horrible hinges, those big metal hinges inside. I hate them. They look so complicated. Anyway, I thought, oh, this is too hard, and I just put the door aside. And all it was is 2 little screws had come out, you know.
Right.
But I didn't even look at it because I thought, oh, this is too hard, like straight up.
Yes.
And that's been the same with so-called making money. Oh, it's all too hard. You know, like it has to be hard, you know. And something shifted because suddenly I just found myself doing something that I'd never done before. And I didn't think too much about it. I just started to do it.
Mm.
And I did it, and I was just so amazed because normally I would
take the time to learn how to
not do it. I would just wait. I would wait for some future event where I, you know, and my whole life has been like that.
Yeah.
And I think, and it's just the same. It's the same thing to do with abundance. It's just the thoughts, always the thoughts. Oh, this is going to be hard. I'll just put it aside.
Yes.
You know, my life is too hard. I'm just going to put it aside. You know, like living is too hard.
And just to summarize it, basically, there's 3 times now, 3 titles say the same thing: accept me, accept yourself,
yes,
accept abundance.
Yeah.
So I say accept abundance. What do you say? Okay.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
I'm just seeing, you know, I'm having it like I know it's all thinking, but the thinking mind is that's where suffering comes from. That's where the suffering comes from. It comes from the thoughts of the thinking mind instead of the thoughts of the heart.
Bingo.
Yeah.
So let's do it this way, just before we finish. It could be lovely. So if you were fully abundant, like you had everything you absolutely need, there'd be no moment where you go like, oh my God, what am I going to do with this? Or what I'm gonna, how would that make you feel?
Peaceful. Content.
Free.
Yes. Well, yes. So what happened just then?
Then you'd say, now what do I do?
Yeah, now what do I do?
There's the chaos.
I'll stay here. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Enjoy, just like Kim does, right? Like allow yourself to feel like if you had everything, how would it make you feel? And since denial of that feeling is what keeps us suffering.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that bypasses the mind and goes, how you make it feel like, oh God, a feeling comes, doesn't it?
Too hard. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When I think about it, it's too hard. And when I don't think about it, it's fucking easy. You know, there's no problem. You know?
It gives you energy. It gives you more energy when you feel it.
And how many of you guys think of like how is it like what's the thing? Like focusing on what you don't want rather than really looking at what you truly desire. And how much energy is spent of looking at what we don't want and how we don't want it. I don't want it like this, and I don't want it like this. What are you doing? What are you putting into your will? What are you putting into that's miscreation, basically. Hang on. This is the miscreation. Focusing how we don't want it. Oh, I don't want it like this. Oh God, I don't want to feel like this. Oh, I don't want to feel, oh God, not him again. Like,
and that's what we get.
And that's what we get because what you sow, you reap. That's exactly that same principle. So how about this week? We actually focus a little bit on like, if you could have it your way.
That's how I got the place I'm living in. I focused on what I didn't want and I got all those things. You know, truly.
Yes,
I didn't want someone living upstairs. I got that. I didn't want blah. I got that. You know, everything. I just had to laugh because it was
the power of the mind.
Yeah.
Good. See how abundant you are? You ask and you receive.
Yeah, we're master manifestors.
Well, what the hell are you asking is the next question.
Yeah.
I was really looking last week, Cole, at the last lesson, the last, the day, and of the letting go of suffering, and I did really well with it up until yesterday.
Yes.
I'm really glad I had yesterday, because now I'm just seeing that it is that thing of the mind is actually the thinking mind, as we've learned to use it, is the justification of all suffering.
That's it.
It justifies all our suffering. My story about my mother, how my parents treated me, and now I'm suffering. It's just a big,
I love that one.
total
That's my favorite.
masturbation, actually.
Beautiful.
Anyway, I'm just really happy. I've got a better understanding now of it. Thank you.
So this week, accept abundance.
I do accept abundance.
Yes.
Thank you.
And yeah. In your Rancho book, and also in the course, it says, the only meaningful prayer is for forgiveness. And it's incredible how Rancho says the same thing. It's just like, it's nothing to do with words. It is nothing to do with words. Because does your heart think words? It's only the little separated part of us thinks thoughts. Do you think thoughts in your belly? We go like, what's belly? That's just the body. No. That's just the body too, isn't it?
Heart is where desire lives.
Yes, true desire. Desire is greater than, how's that sentence? The desire is greater than, forgot. There's one chapter where he goes on about this, or maybe that's still coming. So the question is, what do you truly desire? Like, what's the prayer of the heart? Like, above all else, what do I want? Or desire? Wanting is still kind of limited. Above all else, how about we put
Peace.
that? Peace. Yeah. Can you feel it?
Yes.
Can you allow it more than that? Uh-huh. Yes. And then more than that. And don't let any crazy tiny made ideas creep in now. Just feel that. You see, it instantly made you happy. It's already there. Even this accomplished, you're the accomplished, right? It's already there. It's like you were created perfect, but you're not giving perfections. So you have what you give, right? Yeah. I think we're looking right at it there. There's that thing of the habit of looking what we don't want and then end up like him.
Having it. It says it in here. This evidence. You get the evidence.
Get the evidence.
Well, and resisting peace and calling it boredom.
Right. Beautiful.
I don't mind not having peace, but I just want to feel alive, really. I like really alive.
Okay, go like for it.
Not like a zombie,
Hey, can you allow it?
Yep.
Yep. Keep going. Yeah, fulfill yourself. Fulfill yourself with that. See, now that's no longer a tiny made idea, because tiny made idea makes you remember not to laugh, right? When you said what Kim said just then, what did you do with that? You remembered to laugh.
Yeah.
Can you see that? So every time something smiles you, or brings joy, you're looking at the right thing. Anything that makes you frown and think and go into the loop of, that's it. Two choices, two voices, right? One makes you happy, one makes you miserable. And then re-choice yourself. Choose again.
Yes.
Beautiful. We're looking right at it.
But yeah, as soon as my mind takes over, the aliveness is fucking gone again.
Anytime you find it, like, you know, when I was running the men's groups, I always go, hey guys, seriousness is an addiction.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a total addiction. Seriousness. Seriousness comes from what? From thinking. Thinking. You get serious. You
Justification of suffering.
And sometimes just putting smile back on, just remembering to laugh, remembering to smile instead of thinking, will generate the sense of feeling of abundance again.
That's the type of abundance I want. You know.
Yeah.
Like,
now give it.
Yeah.
Give it to have it. To everyone, I offer this kind of abundance.
Yes, to everyone I offer this kind of abundance.
Yeah, look at you.
Yeah.
Laughing and having fun. Yeah, like, oh my God. You know, just everything can be so funny. The slightest little thing, you know. I don't know.
Well, and it brings you, at least it brings me into the present, like into the real eternal present, like where, you know, there's no future or no future to worry about. It's just so, like you said, it actually is easy, but I resist it. Yeah.
And that's where the abundance is, because
there. You taught yourself to resist it. That's
right.
That's why it's off. You taught yourself to resist abundance, resist beauty, resist that.
Yeah.
You know.
Because I don't deserve it. Yeah. I don't deserve it, you know. What a bloody bullshit. You know? That's a favourite one of mine. I don't deserve it. I'm not good enough, you know.
I just have to sigh and I feel it. It's like breathing out. It's letting go.
Feeling is the secret. Feeling is the secret. Feeling is the secret. And how much feeling is allowed in your realm is what engages. The minute you feel, you can't think, or at least you can't think straight in a way. Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful, darlings. Well, thank you so much, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. I'll see some of you tomorrow.
Tomorrow we are doing the Rancho book. That's an
7:30.
amazing journey. Same time. Oh,
no, not 1 hour earlier, isn't it?
7:30.
7:30, is it?
7:30.
7:30.
It's at a really nice time for me, 9:30.
Yeah.
Morning.
Abundance right there.
Yeah.
I was trying to scarcity, saying, oh shit, I have to set up again. As my first thought creeped in, the tiny made idea of setting up the alarm. Because I had the alarm for the lesson for the whole year. Yeah. All right, darlings. Mwah.
Right.
Thank
you all.
Thank you.
See ya.
Ciao.
Bye.
Bye.